I love my ancestors. I love my progeny. I want to see us together in the future doing some amazing stuff where when people have become whatever these amazing creatures we already are and are going to be, look back and say, here's to the founders.
Yep. You want to be the giants that everyone's standing on their shoulder. That's true. Absolutely. And that's, I think about how this country was built and all the people that worked so hard and all the ideals.
If we're not just envious and petty pieces of we're going to go all the way. The whole way. The species is going to do the whole way. Things we can't even imagine, Buckley. But we just can't be greedy bastards and look down on weaker people than us and keep them in the dark so we can rule over them. They're not meant to be ruled over. They're meant to be empowered and lifted up.
Absolutely.
And we lift ourselves up when we do that.
Yep.
It's the ultimate destiny.
I agree with you. And I think that's one of the things that people are responding to with Trump is that he's sort of exemplifying that ideal. If you go back and you read his books and you look at all the people that have worked with him, for instance, the woman that was the manager architect of his buildings back in the 70s.
He's not perfect, but he's an animal. He's a man that wants prosperity. He isn't out to get people. He wants prosperity. He's aggressive. He's got his own issues, but he's not someone that wants to sabotage humanity. That's why they hate him. That's why they want to destroy him. He'd never been part of their club. He's not out to get anybody. That's why they hate him.
Yep. Absolutely.
He's a fan of humanity. That's what they hate, Buckley.
Yep, absolutely. Reynolds from Colorado says, long-time listener, I started to wake up from your show and Ron Paul's campaign. Awesome stuff. What do you have to say to all the good Americans who believe that you're controlled opposition?
Okay, I'm controlled opposition. Now the excuse is done for you. You're better than me. Go on and save us. It's total horse manure. I'm my total independent own self, and I just promote private property, family, pro-human activities, life extension, free market. I just want us to be successful, and I stand against any groups that try to centralize control. And, those questions have to come, but they're just so cuckold. They're just so in their own world. Honey, what do you say about controlled opposition? What does that even mean? Leanne McAdoo in a beautiful green outfit. Let's get her over on here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest that is joining us, Leanne McAdoo. She is one of our intrepid reporters. She is super insightful and is a wonderful person.
And looks very nice wearing that green outfit. And I like the little bracelet.
Thank you. I just got done recording the B block so I could come sit in here with you.
That's right. To be clear, in T-minus 10 minutes, the nightly news starts at Infowars.com and at PrisonPlanet.tv. But go ahead, we're live.
I will be in 2 places at the same time.
Ooh,
you guys already talked about all the good stuff, the alien.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Here's a really good question. MAGA Navigator says, Alex, I love your work. Thank you for taking time from your day to join us. Now, as to my question, what is your opinion on the Trump-Kissinger meeting? The meeting with Kissinger disturbed me. Kissinger is a major league New World Order puppeteer, and he should be in prison for war crimes and genocide.
I totally agree, and we shouted him down. Our reporters did, Rob Dew and others, Josh Owens and Paul Watson. There just a few days ago in Dresden, Germany, and a few weeks ago when he had that Kissinger meeting, we talked about it, and it came out that he disagreed with Kissinger in the meeting, disagreed with James Baker in the meeting, but he did meet with him, and that's why they've come after him even more. Remember, Newt Gingrich was endorsing him? They offered him $200 million, Sheldon Adelson, the casino owner, and Trump wouldn't take the money, so now notice Gingrich is against him. I don't expect purity. Because nobody's pure. I'm not perfect. It's just too hard to even figure out what I'm doing the next minute. But if Trump starts going along with these guys, then I'll have a problem. If he picks Newt Gingrich as running mate, I'll be concerned. But so far, we haven't seen that. And so I don't have a problem with him. He said he'd meet with Kim Jong-un. He said he'd meet with the Iranian leaders. And then he's like, oh, how dare you meet with them? No, he says he'll meet with anybody in power to try to make us free and great again. So that's where I stand on that. I care about what Trump does, not who he meets with. What do you think, Buckley?
I think that's a great point. I mean, it's ironic that in the aftermath of this Orlando shooting that Hillary is out banging the drums and saying he doesn't have the temperament to be presidential. And that's a perfect example of it, is meeting with somebody that he disagrees with vehemently, but yet still being able to sit down with them and be in the same room and see what they're what they're.
I want your comment, Liam. I just had this. I was shocked when he agreed to meet with Richard Haass of the CFR. Mm-hmm. But then a week later, Haass came out and badmouthed him everywhere and said the meeting was horrible and Trump's an idiot. So Trump meets with them and tries to convince them, why are you effing America over? And then they come out against him. So,
well, for me, it goes back to early in the race when there was still like 17 people in the race. And I was on the fence for a lot of things, but Trump, it seemed, was just collecting these enemies, and they were all the right enemies. You know, every single time one of them would pop up and attack him, I'd go, God, I'd love for that guy to attack me.
The Bushes.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, it's polarizing. He's just you know, focusing on what his option.
He's like, why should I fight with Putin? Putin says you're a genius. When I go, how dare you call me a genius?
Well, of course, he's going to have meetings with these globalists because now they see that the people are behind him. They can't stop him. So I was actually, at first, I was like, why is he meeting with them? But then it's kind of like, I feel like really like they're slithering in going, you're going to need to join us or we're going to, I hear your daughter's pregnant. You know what I mean? Like he loves his family.
It is a respect thing, though. He's meeting with the mafia dons and being respectful. Oh, they'd kill him. He knows he knows how all the mojo works. I mean, it's
and he loves his family. That's why you see a lot of like Secret Service guys, people, special forces. They don't tend to have families, children, and stuff because that makes them a target. They'll come after their family because they know they love them so much, and so it makes them weak. And that was for me. It kind of frightened me, but.
All right, the Alex Jones Show is not over. You are tuned into the 4th hour. I'm your host, Rob Dew. We've got a pretty big show today. I got a lot of videos for you guys. Plus, I'm going to have an interview with the young man who is the centerpiece of a video that Jakari Jackson shot at the Atlanta Trump rally. His name is Quaterius Manuel, and this video has over 1 million views now. He's basically taking a guy twice his age and basically showing how much of an idiot he is just by letting the guy speak. That's what I do at a lot of these rallies. I just let these people speak because you will know them by their faults, by the words that come out of their mouths. But before we get to that, we have a Jeff Sessions video that Alex did not get to. This is on CNN earlier. Basically claiming, you know, he's saying foreigners do not have a right to come here. There's no constitutional right guaranteeing anyone has a right to come to this country. And he's absolutely right. So let's get to that video as we kick off the 4th hour of Overdrive.
What does that mean? Are you going to look specifically at certain countries? Are you going to look at certain religions? How would that actually work in practical terms?
Then I think you look at background. Look at the countries where we have, of this 580 terrorists, about 95% or so are from Islamic countries.
So, for example, give me some names of countries that you would look at first.
Well, all I can tell you is the public data that we have indicate that there are quite a number of countries in that region that have sent a large number of people that have become terrorists. And so
are you talking about Saudi Arabia, or are you talking about...
It all depends. A lot of it's on population.
Iran.
Like Pakistan has a number, people from Egypt, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan,
So you would
Yemen.
consider, and Mr. Trump would consider, banning immigration temporarily completely from those countries?
Not completely. I mean, you got diplomats and business people have been traveling for a long time, but tightening up that, pausing on the normal flow here until we get a good data base that the administration has refused to give us and protect the American people. That's not unreasonable. You don't have a constitutional right to come to America. We respect your religion in this country. We will defend your right to free exercise of religion. But a person with an ideology that goes beyond normal religion, that believes you can kill gays, that kills people who change their view about the religion they have, that is a dangerous thing, and we do not have to admit people like that.
And you have these clueless liberals who are at these Trump rallies protesting Trump, saying he wants to ban all Muslims. When Jimmy Carter did the same thing during the Iran hostage crisis, he banned immigration for Iranians into this country. There's nothing wrong with that, especially when you're in, absolutely, we seem to be in a war now with ISIS and those who are Islamic terrorists, Islamic radicals. They don't care about our values. And they want us to adopt their values. And Jeff Sessions is right when he says, we respect your religion when you get to this country, but you have no constitutional right to come to this country. There's nothing that says we have to let everybody in, nothing whatsoever. But what happens when you let people in? Well, when we get back from the break, we're going to play a video from this article. It's from Paul Joseph Watson. Report, 3 Syrian refugees rape little girl at knife point in Idaho. And Alex was really hitting on this morning when he was on the air live from the Caribbean. But these 3 youths, 8, 10, and 13, the oldest boy directing the site, they grabbed this little girl by knife point. They forced her into a room and basically raped this little girl. And they found her and they called the police, and it took 2 hours for the police to arrive. And they didn't take any action because of a language barrier. And we've seen this happen in traffic accidents here in Austin. David Knight got rear-ended by a guy driving a dump truck, just about, and they didn't give him a ticket because he couldn't speak English. So you don't speak English, you come to this country and you're given everything in the world. Anyway, we'll be back with more. We're going to be back with that video, and also about an Uber driver who basically took out a gunman in Chicago, a place with very restrictive gun laws. We'll be back. This is Rob Dewitt, 4th Hour. So we were talking about the 3 Syrian refugees who raped a little girl at knife point in Idaho. And what's interesting about this? Well, one, they videotaped the entire assault on a cell phone. But the case has been officially sealed by a judge with no evidence of it being unsealed because all parties are minors. And a video of the Twin Falls City Council meeting shows irate residents demanding to know why council members have done nothing to address the alleged rape, as well as numerous other issues involving Syrian refugees being housed in the area, including hit-and-run incidents, Muslims spitting on non-Muslims. And there's reportedly around 50 refugees housed at the Fawn Brook site. And they were also grilled on how a mosque was approved just after 24 hours, whereas a new home application would take at least 2 weeks to process. In every instance, the council members claim ignorance as to the severity of the situation. And then, of course, because people brought these up, they were they had anti-Muslim prejudice. That's what their concerns were based upon. So here's a video of Terrence Edwards confronting the city council that he believes is engaging in a cover-up of a rape of the 5-year-old girl we've just been talking about. So here's that video.
I guess my concern is as I've conveyed to Mr. Hall here in the past, with the refugee situation we have in this community and the Muslim impact, and I guess everybody's aware of what happened in Orlando and what's happened in San Bernardino and what's happened in parts other than here, small communities even. We've been made aware of a situation, an alleged assault of a minor child, and we can't get any information on it. Apparently, it's been indicated that the perpetrators were 4 Muslim youth that conducted this, I guess it was a rape, and we've heard that it's consensual, but my concern is there's no such thing as consensual rape of a minor. The police department, as I talked to Mr. Hall about it, that he's adamant that everybody on the police department is good people, and he's looked them in the eye, and those folks are good people and they're peaceful, and the Muslims are peaceful. That's what they said San Bernardino, that's what they've said in other places that we've seen this carried out. And I know that you can't stop everybody and be concerned about it, but when there is a violation of somebody's rights and there's an attack on their personal being, we should be able to be made aware of that. And I think that there's a method of cover-up here in the community. I think it starts with the police department. I think that they have their mouth zipped closed. The media is not getting in on it. We get more information from KMVT than we do from the community at large and the police department. So I'm just alerting you to the facts that if you don't get your head wired to your posterior, you folks are going to be with a mic in front of your face trying to answer questions about Islam, the Quran, the Hadith, the Sunnah, and you're going to act like a bunch of morons because you don't have a clue as what's going on in this community.
Wow, man, it's very calm and collected. I can't believe that more hasn't happened thus far in Twin Falls. And so how do these refugees get to Twin Falls? Do you think they land at some airport like JFK or LaGuardia and go, let's go to Twin Falls, Idaho? Never been there. Let's go check it out. No, this is how we got a video coming up from Barbara Day, and she's going to talk about how the refugee resettlement program